This brings us to our first solution in eco-remediation, oil-cleaving enzymes. For a long time, we didn't know what they looked like, but we knew that enzymes were a very important part of nature's life cycle. This illustration, provided by MIT, shows one of the many different and complex enzyme structures. Enzymes are biological catalysts. They are a certain special kind of protein that affect chemical reaction rates by speeding up or slowing down the formation or breaking down of certain chemical compounds. The most commonly known enzymes are digestive enzymes, which help to break down the food so that it can be digested and converted for use by the body's cells. Most enzymes are substance-specific. This means that they break down specific types of substances. Our special oil-specific enzymes, named Ecoenzyme 100, specifically targets complex hydrocarbons such as crude oil and cleaves or breaks up all the complex hydrocarbons found in crude oil into simple carbons that the local, natural, indigenous oil-eating microbes are able to consume quickly. The following video will demonstrate Ecoenzyme 100 in action.
This demonstration is to show how Ecoenzyme 100 cleaves or permanently breaks the bonds of complex hydrocarbons, specifically those in petroleum crude oil, so it is unable to reform. To demonstrate this, we will take 8 ounces of room temperature tap water and add 10 drops of crude oil, then put 1 drop of Ecoenzyme in the center of the oil slick. And presto, the enzymes instantly break the bonds of the complex carbons in the oil into simple carbons that become food for the bacteria. Since bacteria loves to eat simple carbons, this causes the indigenous bacteria in the water to proliferate and eat up the carbon-based oil spill. This process will continue for as long as carbons are present, even for months. For extra heavy contamination, or in areas where the natural bacteria has been killed off, we can add special oil-eating bacteria to help accelerate this whole process. Ecoenzyme 100 is effective in salt, brackish, and fresh water, and are naturally activated by time, temperature, and turbulence. In addition, it is important to point out that when applying Ecoenzyme, frequent applications of smaller amounts of diluted enzyme product is more effective than large doses. Ecoenzyme facilitates the breakdown and remediation of complex carbons so they never come back together again. It is important to remember the beauty of using Ecoenzyme 100 is its ability to unharness nature's powers.
In this video, you saw the oil being burst apart through enzyme activity. This occurred as the bonds of the complex hydrocarbons began to be broken down, making the oil bite-sized. Over time, the enzymes continue to break the oil down. This action can continue for months. When the complex hydrocarbons are broken down into simple carbons, they will not reform again, and are much easier for the bacteria to consume. This last point is an important one. Oil broken down with Ecoenzyme 100 will not reform, period. Using only chemical dispersants or surfactants allows the complex hydrocarbons to reform, achieving only temporary efficacy at best. So how do enzymes speed up the process? Well, bacteria only reproduce when there is enough ready-to-eat food around to sustain more bacteria. Keeping this in mind will help to clarify the 2 main things an enzyme accomplishes. Simply put, think of it like this. The enzymes, first, break up the oil into small, bite-sized pieces that the microscopic bacteria can much more easily consume. Then, as the enzymes cut the oil into bite-sized pieces, the bacteria suddenly see a feast in front of them and celebrate by multiplying like rabbits. As more bacteria arrive on the scene, they devour more oil, and as more bite-sized oil becomes available, more bacteria are born. How do bacteria use enzymes? See, the thing to understand about bacteria is that they naturally manufacture, exude, and use enzymes. They do this for 2 reasons. First and foremost, bacteria use enzymes to protect themselves. They use them as a source of nutrients that build up their cell walls. Like the walls of a castle, strong cell walls protect the bacteria and keep them alive. The second reason bacteria manufacture and exude enzymes is to break down their food sources into small, easy-to-consume pieces. The problem is that manufacturing enzymes for either one of those jobs takes valuable time away from getting the remediation job done. The relationship between enzymes, bacteria, and time. In order for bacteria to proliferate, they need food. The oil is their food. Like humans, they need enzymes to break down their food so that they can digest it. The oil needs to be broken down. Unless there are enzymes present, they must first go through a process in which they manufacture and exude their own enzymes. This takes time. Our broad-based enzyme cultures contain these types of enzymes and eliminate or minimize the need for bacteria to create the enzymes themselves. This saves time. Having a food source along with the enzymes causes the bacteria proliferation process to accelerate greatly. More bacteria, less time. Faster bacteria reproduction and complex hydrocarbons broken down into simple carbons or foods allows for more consumption in a shorter time. Clearly, this is crucial because of the immediate danger and the vast amount of oil that needs to be consumed. Alright, now let's take a look at the Ecoenzyme 100 versus enzymes out there being offered by others. The other companies making the enzymes are doing so by fermenting bacteria and keeping the enzymes that those bacteria exude. That's all. What this means is that they have one single type of enzyme. This narrow of a selection would be unheard of in nature. We, on the other hand, produce our broad-based line of enzymes by fermenting a non-bacteria food source approved by the EPA. This proprietary food source is one of the most studied forms of food, and at last report contains in excess of 6,000 different strains of enzymes, proteins, and coenzymes. Our enzyme package also contains a nutrient package, which includes macro and micro trace minerals. This provides the habitat with a broad range of enzymes it needs. Our combination enzyme and bacteria formulas provide everything that is needed in one formulation. Now to the second solution in eco-remediation, the oil-eating bacteria. The bacteria army. In the sensitive Gulf ecology, oil-eating bacteria are the last line of defense. In extreme cases like the one in the Gulf, the indigenous bacteria can be overwhelmed. Since bacteria multiply exponentially, beginning with a larger base means dramatically faster results. When Mother Nature needs a little extra help to augment the activity of local bacteria, emulsion tech can send in more bacterial troops. The damage in the Gulf also increases dramatically in relation to time lapsed. The longer we allow this process to take, the more economies and living things are harmed or destroyed. Irreversible damage is done. Emulsion tech distributes these specialized oil-eating bacteria in liquid form or in powder form. These reinforcements dramatically speed up the process. Now let's take a look at our emulsion tech bacteria versus bacteria produced by other companies. In order for these other companies to deliver effective bacteria, the bacteria they use needs to be developed by sampling the source. This will vary by location and requires taking the bacteria back to the lab where the company can fully analyze and grow them. This is usually not being done, which means the bacteria often aren't tailored to the particular environment they are trying to remediate. In our bacterial army, the bacteria are more like the special forces. This three-part microbial group is comprised of the best bacterial species available. These troops are specifically suited to attack and break down complex hydrocarbons. Like an efficient fighting force, this high-powered mix of bacteria can be added to our broad-range enzyme package and can be delivered by airlift all in one single formulation, directly to the most difficult-to-reach areas. Are bacteria efficient in open waters? Well, initially, laboratories examining the issue came to the conclusion that oil-eating bacteria would not be very efficient in open waters because they would get diluted, dispersed, and washed away. Then came the successful open water uses of oil-eating bacteria by the Texas government in the 1990s, where the oil was kept contained by booms which were used in still water. Under those conditions, the bacteria was proven to work very well. The next advance would be to speed up the process and to make the oil-eating bacteria effective even in choppy waters. The enzyme breakthrough. It has since been discovered that oil-eating bacteria can be effective in open water. Furthermore, that the agitation in the water can actually help the bacteria proliferation when Ecoenzyme 100 is added.